Oh man.
Clip
Oh,
that. Clip that.
clip that. It's been a couple weeks.
Man,
All right, I'm about.
The
I'm about
boys are out of shape.
it's good to be
The
back.
boys are out of shape.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wash Kings podcast, the show where a couple of cousins talk hoops, the NBA, and keep you updated on everything you need to know about your Denver Nuggets. We have not been on. It's been a couple of weeks. A lot of us are wanting to stay a little bit more consistent, and that's what we're going to do moving forward in this offseason as news and rumors heat up. But it's Tuesday, June 17th at about 8 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm your host, Cam Kennedy, and I have a great panel with me today. We got super producer Matthew Hennon filling in. What's up, Matty Ice?
Nothing much, man. Feeling good. I got brats on the grill, so I'll be up and out of the chair at some point, but we're doing good.
In the middle of a take, just flipping a brat. We got Pat Kennedy here as well. PK, what's up, man?
Not much. Went to Cancun the other week, was trying to see some of the Nuggets. Didn't get a chance to see any of them out there. And then I got COVID, so I'm kind of pulling a Rudy Gobert. Watch your microphones, everybody. I might go around touching everybody's microphones. But I'm doing good otherwise, just getting over that.
Good. Glad you're feeling better, man. And we have Kennedy Phillips, who, Ken, I don't know if you realize this or not, but you have not been on a show since May 12th, over a month ago.
I think the last time I was on a show, I was still saying Nuggets in 6. So,
Yep.
It's been a while, but it's good to be back. I am glad that we were able to do it tonight and sometime this week. So, looking forward to catching up with the fellas, talking some hoops.
Cam's got the receipts.
Yeah, I had to go look back. And to be fair, we've only done 2 shows since then, so we've just kind of been off our game. But you know what? It's the offseason. There hasn't been a ton to talk about, but we're going to start changing that soon here and be a little bit more consistent. But on today's show, we're going to be talking about the fact that the Nuggets still do not have a GM named and what's the latest there. We're also going to go over the Westbrook news that happened last week. And finally, we're going to be talking about some free agents, some trade targets, and predict what we think the Nuggets will do or won't do for the changes for the next season. But let's start with some quick layup lines. Guys, I don't know about you, but I've been really enjoying the finals, despite the Thunder most likely going to win it now, up 3-2. Honestly, I think it's been one of the most entertaining finals that we've had, maybe since Phoenix and Milwaukee 2021, maybe Cavs Warriors in 2016. Of course, I loved our finals in 23, but I don't think the rest of the NBA fans or basketball fans were really loving that because the Nuggets were just so clearly better than the Heat. But unfortunately, today we learned that Halliburton is going to be, maybe out with a calf strain, but we learned that he has a calf strain, and we're going to find out if he's going to play through it or not. So it looks like the Pacers' chances are kind of running low. But have you guys been enjoying the finals as much as I have?
I have. This matchup is very similar in a lot of ways to the Nuggets matchup, just the way the games have gone. And then, that's about all I got. I do think that the Pacers are about to run out of gas. I don't know. OKC is just so good. They can beat you by 40 on a given night as well.
Yeah, the Thunder are clearly a better team, and I guess it was their year, man. I mean, I remember you and I were talking about it the other night, Cam. If you win as many games as you do, and you don't win the finals, is it considered a, kind of a tragedy if you don't pull out the stops at the end? So they're a better team, and that's who's gonna win.
I think to me it was the fact that the Thunder made 3 3-pointers in an NBA game in 2025 and were able to win it, and the Pacers, squandered that Game 4 opportunity. Kind of similar to what you said. This series has played out a lot like the Nuggets series did, and the fact that they weren't able to go up 3-1 was a definite killer. But Bear, have you been enjoying the finals?
Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to unmute. I haven't been watching as consistently. Obviously, it's just been when it's not your team, it's hard to watch as much. But I follow along pretty much every game on my phone and see the stats. And kind of seems like the Pacers, you don't know if they're going to have the ability to come back like they did in Game 1. So it keeps it interesting. I remember watching game one. I think I watched 1 and 3 pretty closely, and it was like this teams can really surprise you. And they came back and they won game one, and you don't know if they're going to be able to do that throughout the rest of the series. And um, it's been reassuring of sorts that the Thunder are that good. I feel like every year in the last 5, 6 years, it's like the Nuggets, they lose to the Lakers in the bubble. The Lakers go on and win the championship. The next year they lose to the Suns. The Suns, they go to the finals, but they don't win. The next year they lose to I think it was the Warriors in 2022.
Warriors.
Round one again without Jamal, we lose in five, but you lose to the eventual champion. So if anything, there is something to kind of hang your hat on. I know last year was a little bit different, but it's reassuring of sorts that the Thunder are that good, but it's also a little scary because they're going to continue to be that good. They're young, and they're going to be able to bring guys back next year, and it's just the league's getting better, and we got to be able to find ways, which I know we're going to hopefully, figure some things out and talk about those things tonight. But it's been a good finals. It's been competitive. That's all you can really ask for.
Good points.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it is scary to think about the fact that this might be the worst the Thunder look going forward. And I know we always say that every year. It feels like we thought, oh, the Nuggets are destined for this dynasty. Oh, Boston's next up. But we see how fast that can change. The Thunder look like they're well equipped to kind of, beat some of that. But also at the same time, that second apron and those max extensions and all these guys need to get paid here soon. So hopefully, for our sake as Nuggets fans, and just for the sake of parity in the NBA, we're not seeing the start of a dynasty right now, because I wouldn't like that. I did not like when the Warriors were just winning every year. So, yeah. So, trades are beginning. We got Desmond Bane to the Magic. That was something that happened that was pretty shocking. They gave up, quite a big package for it. KCP, Cole Anthony, and 4 unprotected first-round picks, and then the 5th one that was like a swap or something. What did you guys have any initial reactions to that? We don't have to spend too much on it, but that trade.
Honestly, no.
Sure.
I thought the Magic got fleeced.
Yeah,
Like
it felt like a lot.
I know picks are. I mean, we kind of talk about it sometimes, even in our fantasy football league. We don't really know what you're going to get with a pick, but the fact that they're unprotected, you're still giving up a couple of assets. I know KCP is. I swear it happens to Nuggets guys. They just fit the system so well. They go somewhere else, get paid a bunch of money. I'm thinking really 2 guys, Bruce Brown and KCP, but
It's true though.
it's kind of hard to see him, go from such a high to now being traded for Desmond Bane, along with who else did they send?
Cole Anthony.
Cole Anthony. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, 2
Nice
guards and
pieces
then
off the
4
bench.
unprotected picks. Like that's a lot
Right.
for
To me,
Desmond Bane.
the pick that was really important in that was the Phoenix one that they had, because that could be a really valuable pick. But in defense of the Magic, I will say that I think it's a great fit. I think Desmond Bane's going to fill a role that they really needed, which is 3-point shooting, and it's going to give them more offense. So I think it makes a lot of sense from that aspect. Yes, you wish it would have been a lot less of a package, I guess. But we kind of say it too, that if the Magic are going to be good now for the next coming years, then those picks might just be in the mid 20s or 20 through 30 for a first round pick, which may not even turn into anything that special. So you know what, for them, for where they're at, they're ready to go for it. And the Eastern Conference is kind of, as we think, it's going to be a little bit more open. Good on them, I guess. Maybe it was kind of a bit to get there, but yeah.
I just think with picks, those are things we've noticed it as Nuggets fans, like having to give up the two second rounders, I think last year, and suddenly you don't have a draft class. Suddenly you don't have really pieces outside of what you have in terms of player wise to make trades and add in pieces here and there. So I think, you don't know what you're going to get, but I still think that keeping hold of some picks is important. And it just seemed, I don't know, I was just like checked my phone and saw 2 players and 4 first rounds for Desmond Bane, and it's a good fit for the Magic. But I think that Memphis is cooking a little bit. I think Bane's a solid piece, but I think that their future is definitely going to be more like Ja. I'm interested to see what they do with Jaren Jackson and all that, but they have some picks to build around that and kind of figure things out with a new coach too. So I could see both sides, but I was a little shocked by the first rounds.
You know what? They might have thrown a first round pick in there just so that they would accept taking KCP. And I don't think he's washed or anything, but he kind of makes a lot of money now. So I wonder if Memphis was like, listen, we don't really want like this guy on this kind of money, so you need to throw in a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about Memphis probably more here in a second as we get to talking about some of the things this offseason just to see where they go and everything. But we'll jump right into our first topic today. The Nuggets did make a move in the front office yesterday, but it was not a new GM. But they did decide to part ways with assistant GM Tommy Balcetis. I don't know everything about the inner workings of what's happening in the Nuggets front office right now, but I've heard that his contract was, expiring and that they did not want to renew it. And I'm sure that was a decision made by the Cronkies. Ben Tenzer is still the Nuggets interim GM, but got
Yeah, a couple notes I had about this move. I mean, it just seems like they've been cleaning house all around and getting rid of a guy that's been with the team since 2013 and one of the OGs of the Jokic era. Just seems like, in the sense that it's almost looking like they're going to hire internally for the GM, but then they made this move, which makes me think that, oh, maybe they might be going externally, trying to clean house. Um, and getting rid of him offers like a fresh perspective, um, and a lot of potential there. So
I think getting rid of Tommy B, or however you say his last name, I don't want to screw it up, but DMVR always calls him Tommy Bracelet, so I'm gonna go with that.
yeah, Balcetis,
Balcetis.
like that. Yeah.
I don't want to upset him when he listens to our pod, but I think that obviously they're doing it for one of two reasons. It's going to be Ben Tenzer, and he wants to kind of pick and choose who he wants as his staff, his crew, kind of who he wants to work with him or who they want to piece in with him. Or, I mean, we don't really know, obviously, but I think a new GM could be on his way in and maybe having Tenzer as like the one piece that's stuck around, which I don't really know much about Tenzer. It seems to be a name that we just now started throwing around the last couple months. But I think that it's definitely a move to clear house, reset the culture, kind of like what they did with Adamman. Is like a lot of those assistant coaches are gone. They got their guy that they want to build around, and I think that might be with Tenzer as well, is build around him and kind of start something new with that, with the smallest bit of ingrained like Nuggets DNA from the last 10 years. So we'll see. Intrigued as to how soon they'll start making some moves, but I thought that was a little bit of like a final piece, as one of those guys is going to go. And I mean, I don't really think Tenzer will leave at this point, but it seemed to be kind of that final goodbye of sorts to that Nugget mentality from the last 10 years.
Yeah, I think to me this points to kind of like what you guys were saying, is there's a lot of Nuggets front office folk that are up for getting their contracts renewed, and I think that is something that they're looking at, and I think it's something that they're not really considering. And I think Tommy Bracelets is just the first of many to probably go. And yeah, Tommy Bracelets. Yeah, I think he's one of many that's going to start going, and I think they're looking for a sweep in the front office. So we'll see. I don't know if I want to throw anything out there, but that's the way it's looking.
I think if this is a sign for anything to sort of come, I think it kind of shows that there might be a resetting of the front office, like you guys mentioned too. That might mean that Ben Tens are still going to be sticking around, but they might want to fill in some of these front office positions with outside perspectives, which I always think is a good idea right now, especially after your team is sort of getting a little stagnant over the past few years. A lot of these decisions have been very slow by the Cronkies, and I think that's what's frustrating about all this. But I do think that they want to shake things up with how the front office is run, getting fresh eyes in, fresh perspective, bringing people in from the outside into the organization, and I think I do like this. no disrespect to Tommy B, but I think the Nuggets are in a place where they need an outside view of how things are going and the change that's needed. And I think that's going to be a good idea moving forward. But if the GM just ends up being Ben Tenzer, that probably will feel pretty disappointing just because it took you this long to get to this conclusion when it seems like it could have been an obvious, like, make that move right away. But maybe they're doing their due diligence and actually looking outside. But and it could be the right call. I'm not saying that this might not be the right call, but you could fill Tenzer staff with people outside of the organization, and that might just be the right move. But the draft is in 8 days, and we still have no news on who the new GM is, and that's wild. So are you guys concerned about the fact that, we don't have draft picks, but this is when a lot of decisions are being made, trades are being made, people are talking, other GMs and execs and everything are speaking about a lot of this stuff. So are you guys concerned that we don't have a GM named yet, and we're almost a week away from all the NBA stuff dropping and whatnot?
Yeah, the closer that we get to the draft, the more concerned I'm starting to get. I don't know. It just seems like based on how quick they hired David Adelman as HC, like you would have thought that they would, make another quick move, hire, Ben Tenzer or somebody else, something quick. Um, Also, it's an interesting approach to hire a head coach before a GM. I know we talked about that a little bit briefly, but um, it does seem like it will be an internal hire. As we know, the Cronkies tend to be on the cheaper end of things. They tend to hire internally. Um, but like we said, with Tommy Bungaloo or whatever, wouldn't be surprised if they go with something externally and
If Tommy B hears this, man, he's gonna be upset. He's apologies, Tommy Bracelets.
We just can't put his name in the title of the video, or else he's gonna find it. I don't know. It's I think after we hired Adelman, we were like happy about it, but also like really they didn't take any time to like survey the options and look and see who else they might want to pick up. And now it's like, okay, let's get a move on it. We got this draft coming up in 8 days, and we want to figure out if we're going to make any trades or, find some assets within the draft within making trades. But I don't think we're going to have anybody set for this upcoming draft. I think that at the rate we are, you would have had it done by now. I know there's been some stuff about possibly like waiting till the finals are done to really start making some moves, maybe with some people within those two organizations. But I don't know. I think that if they had the choice by now, it would have been made. And I don't really think that we know, but I would love for them to kind of start getting on it, just so we can start dreaming of some possible trades to happen or some different accusations, or not accusations, but you know what I mean. We'll see. I think that in a week or so we'll accusations. Hopefully we have some answers in a week, and we're not too upset about post-draft blues without our new players to obsess about for a couple of weeks in summer leagues. So we'll see.
But Matt, let me pose it to you like this now. What I'm worried about is that next year we're going to get to like January or something, and the team is struggling, nothing has changed, and it's like we're looking back to June and July, and we say, man, it would have been nice if we had a front office put together for the draft or get involved with a trade or something. Like, what if a guy like Trey Murphy or someone like that is way cheaper than expected? But since the Nuggets didn't have a real GM or a functioning front office at that time, nobody made deals or talked to them. And we ended up missing out on something that could have been huge for Denver. So do you think we're going to be in a scenario where that's really possible? Or do you think that they're doing a good job here of whatever it is they're doing, that they're making the right decision?
Well, I've got a couple things. The first thing that I wanted to say before Cam, you posed the question is that we got the Cronkies acquired the rights to Elitch Gardens before we got a GM, and I saw that news break, and as much as
you guys trying to go or what?
I'm pretty hyped for that land development, though. I will say, even though we're going to see it in 10 years.
For the last Elitch's season. As much as I joke about that, it seemed, and I know that's more Nuggets related, but man, it's like, it's going to be it's going to be interesting to look back at it, right? And hindsight's always 2020, but when we get to that spot, or if we get to that spot, say, man, stuff could have actually happened and we just were dysfunctional. I want to believe that the Cronkies I want to believe that Josh is making a good decision with kind of waiting around and doing his due diligence. And maybe he felt like he didn't with the Adelman hire, and they kind of just, maybe they did jump the gun. Maybe he felt like they jumped the gun, and now he wants to take his time with the GM situation. But I mean, the question's been asked, and it's going all over the place with Nuggets fans: is when is too long? Yeah, and that's the question that's going right now, and I think it's a very real possibility, Cam, to answer your question, that we get to the point in December or January, and we're looking, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, saying we kind of screwed ourselves over with this situation and the fact that we didn't jump the gun. And kind of to echo what DNVR said today is, I think the Nuggets are looking at this draft like they don't have a dog in the fight, and that's how they're going to roll with it, which is unfortunate because you can always have a dog in the fight, especially with their situation, and if you play it right. But there's nobody at the helm to play it right. So if you don't have anybody there to make decisions, you're not going to make those decisions. So we'll see.
Especially with go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's the interim, but are people really gonna seriously talk to him like he's gonna be making the deals, because they don't even know if he's gonna be the long term guy? But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, just with this NBA draft, there's so many potential trades to be made. Obviously during the draft and afterwards, especially with the market of players on this year's draft. There's not really too many big names. Obviously, you got Coop, but some of the other guys outside of that, it's nothing crazy. So you almost are expecting trades to be made. And I mean, it's not crazy to say that there could be a couple of 3-team trades being made during or after this. So definitely need to get a guy in the front office relatively quick.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. I hope did I cut out? Can you all hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay. Sorry, something popped up and it made me worried about my Wi-Fi. No, I mean, all valid points. I guess we're just gonna have to see what happens. We've heard the name floated around, Bob Myers. Obviously, he's still with ESPN right now doing the finals coverage. That's a big name. That's a guy who led the Warriors into a dynasty and was smart and savvy about it. We hear that he's good with players, respected around the league. I don't think that the Cronkies would pull out the book to pay him. That just seems like a name that's going to be too expensive. I don't really see them writing him a big check. But is that somebody that you guys would be interested in? I don't know. He's kind of an interesting one.
Go ahead, Bear.
One thing I was going to say real quick is just I like the fact that he, from what I've witnessed, is a huge Jokic guy, and he's like, if I could be a GM of any team, I would love to work with Jokic and build around him. So I think it would be a great fit. It would be a lot of money though, and I don't think that's going to be a possibility or a reality. But I do think that he's got a good, at least, awareness of how amazing Jokic is. So
I do like that.
I don't know. I think that the Cronkies can't be cheap here. I mean, you're saving money by hiring internally for your head coach. I mean, you're freeing up some space somewhere down the line. Use it on somebody in the front office. Take advantage of Jokic's prime now, especially with a guy that would love to be a GM for a team that has Jokic. And as Matt pointed out with the settlement with the Elitch Gardens land, you're going to expect a return of investment on that, a positive return of investment on that. So spend the money now and you're going to make up for it in the near future. So go all out.
I think the players will be excited to get a practice facility.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
Thanks, Cronkies.
Yeah.
You got anything on that, Matt?
I don't, because I don't really. I mean, I don't really know that situation very well.
Yeah.
But from what I'm hearing, it would on on paper it would look great. And it would be great on paper, but are are the Cronkies willing to pull out the checkbook and pay him? And
Right.
I think if they want to I think they've been in the mindset that they can get stuff done and they can win championships while sort of being cheap. But I think that
Yeah.
team, that championship run was like you had the right guys at the right time, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, you spend a lot on them, but it was just a culminating, witch's brew of what ended
It all
up
came
being a
together.
championship. It all came together. But if you want to recreate that, you gotta give up some hardy stuff. So we'll see.
I I would like it because it would show like a sign of seriousness. Like if they really did pull out the checkbook and write him a big old check to come over to Denver, that feels like a serious move. Like it would be to be determined how good of a job he would do, but like it at least shows me that it's a serious thing that they're thinking about. But we're just gonna have to see what happens with the GM, and we'll keep people updated when that happens. So, um, if nobody else has anything, on the first segment. We'll jump into segment 2 here. Um, so yeah, guys, last week, what Russell Westbrook opted out of his player option, which actually wasn't a big surprise because this next year the players making the minimum, or the people that made that level of money like Westbrook did this past year or on that deal, if they sign the same deal this next year, it'll be like a $200,000 bonus for those deals. So even if Russ wants to be back, he was always going to opt out. So I guess I'll say, do you guys think that Russ will take a larger deal elsewhere for a team like Dallas or Milwaukee, who need to piece it together because Kyrie and Dame, got hurt for some extra ball handling and stuff? Or do you think that Russ liked it so much here playing with Jokic and would prefer to run it back with Denver? Do you think he would be okay with taking a cheaper contract again?
I, f- I feel like I don't know. I feel like if he realizes the situation and how good it could be, and this is also kind of a Westbrook classic statement for him, is like if you can just take a little bit less of a role on the team, not necessarily like in a bad way, but you don't have to do so much. And he was forced to hand to do a lot this year. And I think that us imagining him in that 6-man role, in that 8th man spot, is wonderful if he can dominate that role. But I just don't. And I think we continue to think he can, and we would love for him to. But I just don't think that's who he is, and we've noticed it all year. And he just goes balls to the wall every time he's on the floor, and that's just who he is, and you can't fault him for that. I loved Russ in a Nuggets jersey. I would love for him to stick around and get a ring. But if there's better options out there, albeit I don't really know if there are, I think that it would be, obviously we don't really get that choice, but I wouldn't mind somebody else different. I do think that if he's being smart and he really wants to kind of get the most out of the last couple of years of his career, he should stay. But that's my opinion on it. I'm not sure about you fellas, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, I I would like to keep him. I think a lot of what his decision making goes into this. I mean, it's smart financially for him to do this, especially with the changes next year. Um, but I think, was it June 30th? I read that that's when he'll become a free agent. So there's still time before he's on the market there. So I think the question of what does he resign with the Nuggets kind of has to do with. I mean, he wants to end his Hall of Fame career with a ring. I mean, as he should. So he's probably looking for the best team, the team that give him the best chance to do so. And I personally do believe that that is the Nuggets. Um, and he could also be waiting to see if the Nuggets make any off-season moves by the end of the month. So we'll see. I personally would like to have him back, as he mentioned, Cam. Probably don't want him to be the sixth best player on the team, but we'll see.
Pat, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think now, kind of looking at his situation and looking at the Nuggets situation is, is he gonna are the Nuggets gonna do anything? And if I think he's savvy enough. I think he's smart enough to know the situation that he's in. And I think he's looking to the Nuggets to say, are you going to be serious enough for me to stay here or not? And I think if the Nuggets, if the Cronkies did something serious in the GM spot and looked to make a bunch of moves in the offseason, I don't think he would have any problem re-signing with the Nuggets. But I think he has to know that they're serious about it in order for him to come back. And I don't think he had any. I mean, he's had issues with teams before, and not being able to gel with other guys, um, and not being the fan base's favorite. But I think we showed him a lot of love. I think Denver showed him a lot of love, and I think his teammates, the whole story behind the regular season is that Russ found a home in Denver, and I think that's true. Just kind of looking at all perspectives of that. So I think they have to be serious about it, and then I think he'll make his decision based off of that.
I think that, as you said, Matt, he was genuinely liked in the city of Denver. I mean, he seemed to get along with the fans, obviously, with the team. There were a couple of rumblings in the playoffs, which I don't know if we've ever really talked much about that, but there was that article that came out a little bit about, I think it was Ramona Shelburne talking about Westbrook and some other teammates being a little frustrated. But other than that, obviously the timing of that was pretty rough, but other than that, it seemed to be pretty smooth sailing, and you never know what you're going to get in a new opportunity, a new situation, what it's really going to be like. It's a guy that's bounced around and been in some pretty toxic locker rooms, and I think that, again, if I'm him, I'm staying in Denver. I want to be around the best player in the world. I want to be on a team that they should be, and we hope that they are, but they're in the we got to win now mentality, and that's where you want to be as a player like him. You want to be in a place that it's kind of do or die. Like, we're going to go win a ship or we're not, and there's no other option. So if I'm him, I'm sticking around, but it's going to have to wait and see what he wants to do and see obviously we have to have a GM too. So maybe he'll just become like a player GM, Russell Westbrook. That'd be pretty wild.
Why not?
That would be wild. It's like Bill Russell coaching the team while also playing. There's examples out there, but yeah, no, it's going to be up to Russ, and we'll have to see. Maybe there's a team out there, like I mentioned, like a Dallas or Milwaukee, that's going to offer him more money than we can, and he just like any human might take the bigger lucrative deal or whatever. So, we'll just have to see. But I think he was largely positive last year. I think there's a lot of people that think he was either a negative or like it was all giveth and taketh, and that he was just a zero. But I don't think that's true at all. I think he was a positive through and through. I think and he helped us get through the regular season a lot. Like, there was stretches of the regular season that we really needed him. He came into the starting role, played with energy and heart. The fans loved him. And I know there was a couple games that he hurt us. That Minnesota one comes to mind, but I think he was mainly a positive. The problem where it got to was in the playoffs. He was the sixth and sometimes the fifth most important player, and I think that's what I would like to see change, is him becoming the seventh, eighth, ninth most important player. But I don't know if the Nuggets have a lot of options or avenues to get there. One of them that we'll probably talk about later is we think Bruce Brown's just back. Like, we already think that deal's going to happen. So I wonder if there's a fit where Russ and Bruce Brown could both be coming off the bench. I think that actually might be pretty interesting. But more or less, I just kind of feel like the Nuggets, they might just try to make the small margins and changes, whether that is Russ and Bruce Brown coming back. They'll probably run it back with nearly the same squad next year. And they said, they in their heads, they might be thinking, we made the changes we need to. We got rid of Malone. We got rid of Booth. We got rid of the toxicity. We got into the new coach in Adelman, some new assistant coaches, new perspective in the front office if they decide to fill around Tenzer or whoever that is. Maybe Bruce Brown, like I mentioned, or a couple veterans to come on minimum contracts. And they might think that's enough for them to win 4 rounds in the playoffs next year in a Western Conference that's going to be brutal. And yeah, you could argue that the Nuggets were close, and maybe that is a good idea for them to run it back. And if you don't get injured, you were right there and that close to beating OKC. But we might this is what I really worry about. We might find ourselves in the exact same situation next year where you fall short and you say, "Ah, damn it. We were close again, but we only had 6 guys that we could trust for the second straight year." And then in 3 straight seasons at that point, if this happens next year, you're 3 seasons away from the 23 title where you were close, but you still fell short and you didn't make any big improvements on the team, but you just kept trusting that internal development and hope that guys like P. Watt, Strother, Holmes, and even CB to some extent just need to step up. But I think the Cronkies might look pretty bad if this happens again by this time next year, where we're saying the same thing. If all they do is make minimal moves for Adelman, the new GM, if it's Tenzer, and that might make the fan base, get pretty mad. It might lose a couple people and the patience of a lot of people if you're wasting 3 years of Jokic's prime at that point to develop young guys. But I guess we're just gonna have to see and trust them on what they do. And yeah, if you guys have any more thoughts on this, we can talk about some trade ideas and some free agent people if we want to.
The only thing I had was just reiterating the fact you just said, like, we were in this exact spot. And it's pretty frustrating to be back in that same spot. And we all kind of feel, just because it's happened before, kind of feel like it's going to happen again, and we're just going to try to run it back. So I would love to be pleasantly surprised and make a move and get some fresh faces in the building a little bit. Obviously, the changes around GM and head coach are big, but it's a little frustrating, and I hope that we can start making some positive moves to get the fellas a little bit more excited.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, the idea of us making the same mistake again, I mean, it just makes me anxious that we do need to make a move. We need to hire a GM sooner than later so that we don't run into something like this again. I don't know.
Right.
I don't want us to run it back with the same squad, honestly. There does need to be some changes, and I think that starts with right now making a change with the GM. So
I think it's got to be an outside guy.
I agree.
I would like it to be.
all the kudos to Ben Tenzer. I think I think he's a good GM. He did a good job at the end, but man, you gotta. I mean, he wasn't really put in any hot seat, or he wasn't under the pressure cooker. So, are you gonna trust that he's gonna fall? I mean, anybody that's in a new position like that is gonna fall back onto comfortability. And if we do that, he's gonna. I could foresee him running it back with the same squad, and we're gonna look at that, and you can predict, for a little bit of being like, yeah, that's kind of the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And
Right.
I mean, that's what it's looking like if you hire internally. No discredit to Ben or anybody else that's internal.
Right.
They've all done a great job in their roles. It's time to have some new fresh faces and fresh eyes in there. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no.
we talked about
Yeah.
getting rid of your egos, especially like guys with big egos. We got rid of Malone and Booth, 2 guys that had big egos. I think Kroenke's kind of got to take a look in the mirror with their own ego and make a change. Man in the mirror, Michael Jackson.
Man on the Nuggets. No, yeah, I hear you guys. I agree with a lot of that.
Talking about the man on the Nuggets.
Josh Kroenke.
I wish I had
Jokic.
a button for for Michael Jackson.
Yeah, no, that's what we needed. But actually, before we get to the trades, one more thing I did want to mention that DMVR talked a lot about today that could be in defense of the Cronkies and the things that is going on right now is the fact that they just might be limited this year. And this may not be the GM stuff, but this could be like free agent stuff. But it could be possible that they are limited this year in what they can do this summer, and that they're going to have a lot more flexibility next year. Like Porter will be on his last year of his contract next summer. He might be easier to move on an expiring deal, and a team would maybe take him on to have an open $30 whatever million that he's going to be making next year in free agency. But also, I think the Nuggets are hoping that a bunch of guys recoup their value and look better to other teams by the next summer, whether that's P. Watt, Zeke, Porter, Strother, or whoever. So if they don't make moves and it's just Tenzer and it's just Adelman, it's going to feel very unsexy and unsatisfying. But it's possible that it could pan out for them in the end, and it could be the right call. So we're just going to have to see what this season looks like if that ends up being the case. But I have gathered a couple of trades that we can chew on for the Nuggets, even though I don't think they will be doing that much.
It's like the last thing. It's the Doctor Strange when he just goes like this. It's the the one opportunity.
Yeah.
The one thing that could work out. Trust
me. Maybe Kroenke's friends with Strange, and they looked at all the possibilities already. So Marvel
Josh
Nuggets crossover.
Josh kind of looks like him. Josh kind of looks like Doctor Strange.
He could be. He's Sorcerer Supreme, somewhat.
He might be.
Have you ever seen them in the same room?
If they ever make a movie about the Nuggets and there's a front office scene, they got to cast. I don't even know who that actor is as Josh.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yep.
There you go.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Who would play Jokic?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
we got a Marvel while you left, bro. Keep eating your brats.
Yeah.
I'm finished. I already ate them, bro.
I would crush a brat right now. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm trying to.
I made like. I want to come over.
I'm trying to think. Y'all chew on this while I talk, but I'm trying to think of who would play Jokic in a movie about the Nuggets.
Jokic in a movie. Vin Diesel.
You think on this?
Ooh.
The Rock. It's just big bald guys.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all I got.
I don't know.
Honestly.
Yeah, nobody looks like him. If you could get like live action Gru,
ChatGPT.
I'm asking ChatGPT.
He could be live action Gru.
Live action.
If they do Despicable Me. Yeah,
it's true.
Anyways,
he might be in the next movie.
All right.
I never know.
You chew on that, Pat. You tell us what chat thinks of it. But I've got a couple of trades that we could start to talk about.
Yeah, Patch.
The first one, the first one I want to bring up is from the Podfather himself, Bill Simmons. After the Desmond Bane trade the other day, he theorized about where Memphis is going and said that what if Denver just sent Porter to the Grizzlies for KCP and Brandon Clark? And I kind of like that one because it gets you two guys for more regular season depth and guys that can play in the playoffs, and you get off of Porter. But I don't know what exactly what would happen to all make that work and that deal to work, but it kind of makes sense for the Grizzlies if you think about it. Like a third option, a spacer, a shooter. I don't know. Maybe a team like the Grizzlies could take a chance on Porter. And I would take KCP back, and Brandon Clark is a pretty solid player. So I don't know if you guys have thoughts on that one.
Who's our starting three?
That's where it would get tricky. I think it would probably be like a Christian Brown, KCP, flying around wing kind of, I don't know, mix there.
The silence is happening, man.
No KCP thoughts? Sure. Back on the Nugs?
I just don't know where we'd put him. CB really blossomed, and you don't want to take him off his tracks. Right. And I don't think KCP's going to want to come off the bench. Sorry,
how old is KCP?
Truck driving by.
KCP's 30, 31.
No. I feel like he's like 33, 34.
I could see
I don't know.
I could see the appeal in kind of bringing back guys that had a good impact when they were here, but you got rid of KCP. You promoted Christian Brown to fill KCP's role, and
I'm not uncertain. It would be a small lineup, but KCP could play small forward probably.
Sure. If he wanted to come off the bench, honestly, if he wanted to come off the bench, absolutely. But if he's a starter, no.
He's 32. I mean,
32. Okay.
You're basically renting him for another good 2, maybe 3 years max that he's got left in the tank of.
Yeah.
He's got of a career. I mean, he's not a standout player anymore. I don't think, but
he'd be a pretty small.
That
forward.
is an interesting thought experiment.
Yeah, Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I guess the part of like Brandon Clark coming over and that too kind of intrigued me just as another forward
I
off
like
the
I like the
bench.
idea of Brandon Clark. Was
Yeah.
he ACL, Achilles,
He was
something?
Achilles a
He
couple
didn't
seasons
play.
ago,
He
but
didn't play much this year, did he?
he played 64 games this year. I think it was the year
Oh,
before that he missed.
oh,
But yeah, it's something.
I
All
guess
right,
I don't know. I don't know anything.
that's a maybe. So let's go to the next one. This one comes from Grant Hughes with Bleacher Report, and this idea was getting Derek White to Denver, and the deal would revolve around Christian Brown and probably a third team or something to take on Michael Porter. There's a lot of moving parts that could be in that. He didn't get too descriptive about that, but the main crux of it was Derek White to Denver, Christian Brown probably getting out of there, Boston probably getting some other stuff, and somebody else getting Michael Porter in that deal. I feel like we've been wanting D White forever. We're all personal fans of him, Colorado hometown guy, obviously. But what would you think about this one if it meant sending out Christian Brown?
I'd say 100%. As much as I love Christian Brown and what he's brought in his first couple of years, looks like we just lost Cam. He's been having some Wi-Fi issues, but I don't know. I would send it just for the value that Derek White brings. I mean, there's a reason that Steve Kerr wanted him on the Olympic team this year, and he helped get that team to a gold medal. Obviously, he helped Boston get their ring last year. They definitely don't get that ring without him. So I think the value of a Derek White right now is, I mean, he's top player, one of the most valuable players in the NBA right now. So you might have to give up a little bit more than that, but curious to see what your guys' thoughts on that are.
I think I would take it. I think I would be wary about what you're giving up in terms of potential. We watched CB make a huge jump. Is that all he's got? I think D White's going to be a great player, and I think nurtured in the right position, I think he'll be, the ceiling is better or higher for Derek White, I think, than CB. But you never know. You can't really foresee that. So just based on what we know of the guys right now, I think I would take that. I just think I would be very wary of it and do your due diligence into, researching, both of those guys and seeing where they land and where your organization is headed and how they fit into the team. Christian's already been there.
Still on D White?
Yeah,
Yeah.
welcome back.
Welcome back.
Man, Wi-Fi is fun.
Yeah. I think just to finish the point, I think Christian's already been in that locker room. He knows those guys really well. I think he plays with them really well. I think he's grown a ton. And are you looking to get Derek White on the fast track to that same place? Or are you looking for him to maybe fill a little bit more of a role player situation, then try to take a CB starting spot? I don't know. That's a hard one for me. I don't know.
Did you speak on it, Ken?
No, I was just gonna say real quick. I think D White is a for sure win now move. CB could be a future. I could see CB as a Nugget forever. But I think that his value is getting higher and higher, and you could probably get some good things out of it. I think that D White would be a great fit. I think he does a lot of things that Christian does, but he's in a Boston offense that just hucks up threes. But he can shoot it, and he's a great defender. And Pat brought up some great points just about him, being a winner and being a great role player for Team USA, for the Celtics when they won their championship. But he's
probably the best role player in the league.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to
give up CB for that, or do you want to go win now with a guy like D White?
It's a short term, probably, because D White's what, 30, 31, something like that. But I don't know. I think I would do this as much as I love Christian Brown, and I think the guys really like him too. So I hear Matt's points on this, but I do think he would be a perfect fit, especially on Denver's offense, and he would bring some of that defensive versatility that we'd want. Secondary ball handling, give Murray relief, 3-point shooting better than Christian Brown. That perimeter defense is a little bit more experienced, but there'd be more spacing. He's got the playmaking. He averages like 4 or 5 assists a game. I saw. I don't know have the numbers in front of me, but all kind of levels of flexibility with rotations and just being a little bit more dynamic. So I would personally love the D White fit, but I understand too if the Nuggets are a little, wanting to see it out with Christian Brown, especially because he's cheap right now, but he'll be up for a contract soon too. But any more thoughts on the D White stuff? Oh, also the Celtics, we have no idea exactly what they're going to be doing this offseason. So a guy like D White might just be out there on the market. You
Well,
never
the
know.
fact that
D
we saw
White,
Parker
16-4-4. 16-4-4 from D White. So
Gotcha. Okay.
back to your Parker Days comment. Sorry.
we saw him at Parker days. He was in Parker a couple days ago.
No, you didn't.
No, we didn't.
We ain't gonna put him on blast like that, but he was nice.
Great dude.
He always is. I mean,
Was he
he's
the
classy.
guy that
Oh,
was he the guy that was upset at the beginning?
Oh
You guys
yeah,
are
that
talking
was
about-
him. That's a story for the Discord or some other time. But he was a nice guy. It was cool to see him there. All right.
Real quick about
yeah.
Derek White. It's funny that I didn't even see that potential trade that you saw. What was that on Twitter that you found that?
Yeah,
something.
Bleacher Report article.
Bleacher Report. It's funny. I didn't even see that, but you before the pod, he said, "Hey, come up with maybe a trade or something." And I didn't have a ton of time, but I wrote that the one person I wrote down was Derek White.
Yeah.
Through here's what I put together: Derek White for MPJ, Strother, and a 2026 first round draft pick. Even then, I don't know if that value matches what you could get from a Derek
Right,
White.
like the contracts and stuff. Like maybe another piece has to be involved from the Celtics or whatever, or this
Exactly.
or that. But yeah,
That's a
yeah.
Nash.
I mean,
That's a,
Desmond Bain was 4 picks. So
Yeah,
All right. Desmond Bain probably a little bit better than D White, but D White
that's a Nash
definitely
trade.
a lot of.
and
Shout out Nash with the horrible fantasy football trade ideas.
Love Nash, but that's a Nash trade right there.
Desmond Bain was not at Parker Days, as far as I'm concerned.
No, that's true. We didn't think about that.
Yeah.
What NBA player was at Parker Days?
Trivia. There was 3.
Yeah.
Not-
I'm just kidding.
Not a coincidence. All right,
imagine Jokic
let's get.
was at Parker Days.
Oh, dude, maybe he was, and we missed him. He was riding the horse, the carousel, or whatever. Yeah. With his children. These ones I didn't have like trade things. This is just like rumors of people throwing names out there. I've seen Lauri Markkanen thrown out there. That doesn't seem likely because that's in division, but Lauri Markkanen would be great. Zach LaVine, that's long been rumored, even when he was with the Bulls. Don't know if that moves the needle that much. Not as fun here. Goga Batadze from the Magic, backup center. Trey Murphy would be great. That's been a hot topic last few weeks. If you could swing a Trey Murphy trade, that would be fantastic. I think he'd be a seamless fit and cheaper than Porter. So, yeah, Trey Murphy would be a great one. Couple others. Oh, here's a really bad one I saw, and then we can speak on whatever we want. But it was Jamal Murray, Julian Strother. I was not a fan of this. The 2031 first round pick and a 2026 first round pick swap for Trey Young. Not a big. I just think that would be kind of gross. I just think Trey Young's fine for what he does in Atlanta. I didn't like that one. I don't think that guy really knew the Nuggets like that if he was suggesting that trade.
Gross.
Casual take.
Just because Trey Young's an all-star, a big name, that doesn't mean he's like something I want to add, But
No, but it doesn't fix anything. You got rid of
no,
ball handler
it makes your defense worse.
Well, yeah, true, but it doesn't.
It makes your defense worse.
I don't think it doesn't help. I don't think it helps you for what you
I mean.
Need. Well, you're not.
He's probably.
You're not bringing in somebody else to help out Jamal Murray, or you're not bringing in two guys that can ball handle, because that's what you need, right? If you're the
All right.
Nuggets.
Well, Murray would be in the deal.
Yeah, exactly.
In this guy's proposed trade, yeah.
You
Well,
get
right.
you acquire one. You're at a net zero here with.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, the only thing he's better than Murray at is probably playmaking and 3-point shooting. But Murray's been here. He's been with Yoke longer. I don't know if we want to be in the Trey Young business. But we're going here a little bit. Let's just get to a couple free agents before we get out of here. Unless anybody had a pressing trade that they came up with themselves that they want to throw up or mention.
I think.
I don't. Go for it, Pat. Sorry.
If we do make a trade, I mean, you got to value defense. I think that's number one thing. Even if you pick up somebody, I know we're about to talk about free agents real quick.
Yeah.
Prioritize defense. That's why I liked Derreck White, because of his defense.
Yeah.
I like the idea of getting. I don't know if it's a trade. I should know, but I don't know if he's a free agent or not. But Cam Johnson from the Nets.
That would be a trade.
That'd
I forgot
be a
to
trade.
mention that one. Good idea. Yeah,
could you go like MPJ and Strother for Cam? Is that enough?
Yeah, you know what? Like, you just don't know with some of these teams. Like, some of these guys might not value these players that we really like.
The Nets make some
right,
bad trades.
like you never know. Sometimes people make bad trades, and you're like, "What? That's all they gave up?" And why not the Nuggets in a situation like that? Even though I don't know if they're really going to trade. But Cam Johnson, that's a good one. I should have written that one down. But let's get to the free agents, and then we'll head out of here. I just have a couple names we can do. Everyone can kind of react if they want. These aren't like the most sexy names or anything, but there's some interesting stuff here. Let's see. We got to keep in mind that most of these are probably unrealistic because we'll probably be very limited with flexibility unless like Sharich opts out or something else happens, which Dario, if you're listening, you know, could you opt out? Help us out a little bit. Help us out, you know, help a brother out. Brook Lopez, unrestricted free agent, 37 years old, backup center. Some spacing, some defense. He's old, but I don't hate that one. I
like it. I like it. Him and Jokic should be funny together.
That would be fun too. I thought about that. The vibes would be good with a guy like that. Luke Kennard, unrestricted, 28 years old, left-handed, hot 3-point shooter. I don't know. Seems like a guy that could work well in a Jokic system.
I kind of like that one. How's it? I mean, defensively as well.
Right. I think he does fine there. Like, I mean, and a lot of these are for depth purposes. Like, we want more guys that could play in the playoffs, right? Veterans that know what to do.
Yep.
Dennis Schroeder. If you don't get Russ back, this could be a backup point guard that can handle the ball. He's 31 years old, unrestricted free agent. He's done pretty well in all the spots that he's hit. That's an interesting one.
He is like Westbrook light version, low key.
A little bit.
Plus, he's been around a bunch of teams too.
Maybe in a little bit more control than Westbrook, but not the highs that Westbrook brings.
Kirkland Brand version of Westbrook.
Mo Wagner, backup center option. He does have a club option, so the Magic would have to decide if they want to give him that $11 million or not. But maybe they don't want to do that. So that was another name I thought of. Larry Nance Jr., unrestricted free agent, 32 years old, athletic. You know, he could do some things defensively.
He's in the Jokic club too. He loves Jokic.
He loves Jokic. He thought the best game that he ever saw live was when Jokic played the Pelicans and had that ridiculous game 3 or 4 years ago. Is there any Gary Harris sentimental value here that we would want back? He's 30 years old, unrestricted free agent. He's hurt a lot.
With Gary, but I feel like he'd have to be like a deep bench option.
Deep.
Yeah.
Right.
I just don't think he's ever healthy. So.
Mm-hmm. I wrote down Mason Plumlee. I don't know if I would want this to be our backup center, but I don't know. It's another guy, 35 years old. Taurean Prince, 31, unrestricted free agent. I wouldn't mind that. I think he's a smart guy. He can shoot the three a little bit. Luke Cornett, who had like a 7 or 8 block game in the playoffs this year with the Celtics, backup center. I don't know. He seems like a smart player, but we tend to kill backup centers in Denver, so I don't know.
I'm hoping the new transition of coach and philosophy and culture can hopefully make some centers fit in besides Jokic, but
sure.
I don't know if Cornett,
yeah.
Cornett is the option.
Yeah.
Wrong white guy, my bad.
Yeah. And then I wrote Ben Simmons. Is there any Ben Simmons interest here? Revival in Denver.
Hell no.
Yeah. I don't think I would like that.
Nah.
And then here's a couple, not serious names, but Bol, Thomas Bryant. Monte's like, I love Monte Morris, but I don't know if we're really gonna go back to that. 40-year-old PJ Tucker. Any interest there? Torrey Craig, Bones Highland. A lot of these are just former Nuggets that are all. There's a ton of former Nuggets that are unrestricted free agents this offseason.
Yeah.
It's kind of
I
crazy.
mean, if we're gonna run it back with a former Nugget, we all know who we're prioritizing.
We want Bruce.
Bring
We want Brucey B.
Brucey B
Yeah.
back.
He wants
And he
us
wants
too.
to be here. I think Bruce Brown might want to be here way more than the Nuggets want him.
I agree.
Okay.
It kind of
Agree.
seems like it,
He's been
which gives us leverage.
all over the place, man. He's been posted all over the place.
He just wants
All
a reason
over,
to wear
bro.
cowboy boots again. He can't be doing that in Toronto. He's got to.
No.
He needs
Literally.
a place like Colorado to be back in.
He needs a dusty
Bru-
old cow town to do that.
Bruce was like, he was on a couple of teams he was on the Pelicans, the Raptors, the Pacers in the last 2 years. It's crazy.
I just-
So,
He wants
Yeah.
one of Jokic's horses, man. He just
he's a homie, man.
that's all he wants. He's a homie.
Li-
You
I
gotta
think
bring
we
him.
overinflate how good he actually was sometimes. Like, if you really look into the
You
stats
do.
and stuff, like, he wasn't, like, perfect, but there was a vibe and an intensity that he brought, and, like, he made the moment. Like, in Game 5 of the finals, I was rewatching the end of that, like, a week ago, and he got that putback. He got to the free throw line, made some huge free throws. Like, he closed the game in a closeout game in the finals. Like, that's hard to replace, so I would love if Bruce was back. If you guys have any free agent names, I'm all out. So we could either head out of here or talk about a few more people.
What you got on Ty Jerome?
Ooh, is he unrestricted? Or
I'm honestly not sure. I've just seen his name popping around here and there.
no? I think he is, but I don't know if I even considered him because I kind of figured some team's going to give him a lot of money. But I would love Ty Jerome if he was if the Nuggets were able to swing that somehow. Although he kind of did have a bad playoffs.
Yeah, he was kind of a regular season merchant.
Mm-hmm. But if
How about
I think
Amir
he could
Coffey?
trade Denver. Amir Coffey, that's an interesting one. I mean, did he play for the Clippers much last year?
I don't even think he really did.
I don't think so.
I don't know if we didn't see him in the playoffs. It's an interesting game.
I got one for you that I would love.
All right, let's
You
hear it.
ready? Nicholas Batum.
I saw that, and I was going to throw that one out there just to piss off
That
Matt.
guy loves the Clippers, bro. Like, he was so sad when he got traded to Philly, and then the offseason after he was with Philly for half a year, he went straight back to the Clippers.
He probably just loves being in LA.
That guy.
Probably. Yeah, I hated
That's
playing Batum, bro.
big.
I've always said he'd be a great Nugget, though. Him off the
He
bench.
would.
He played like small ball 5 for them sometimes. Can play
And he
3,
would get
can
on
play
like
4.
Jamal, and
Yeah.
he would lock him up. Yeah.
And he hits threes against you that just feel like you're getting stabbed in the back.
Backbreakers, bro.
I don't know. I've
Batum
always
backbreakers.
loved the idea of him on the Nuggets, but
Whoa. I didn't say it. I said
Easy.
backbreak.
we know what you meant.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You know what I meant. Matt's off to the side cracking up. All right. Let's get out of here.
Oh, it's
Any more names?
Cam Thomas.
Cam Thomas. Is that another guy, though, that's like going to get money somewhere?
I actually like the idea of Nikhil Alexander Walker, but there's no way he gets, a cheap deal.
Somebody's
from
going to pay
Denver.
him. Somebody's going to pay him. I felt that way about Nas Reed, too.
Jokic
Somebody's going to pay
for
Nas
80.
Reed $30 million this year.
Markelle Fultz.
What if we traded Jokic?
Malik Beasley. Trade Jokic.
We should not. We shouldn't even put. Hey, man, we shouldn't even put that out there because
Don't even put that out there. Yeah,
Not
my
even
bad.
that.
My bad.
Hey, man. Because what if somebody comes in and just
And clips this.
Just- like turns the ship over completely, like capsizes what we've got completely?
Hey, man. Luka Doncic got traded.
Ugh.
You never know, bro.
Luka, Don, and LeBron.
I don't think that's how it goes. But
Oh, that's
okay.
Is that not how it
All right.
goes? How does it go?
get out of here.
It's because they got Luka, Don, A. Reeves, and then LeBron. By the way, Austin Reeves. I wonder where he's going to get traded to. All right, we're at an hour. Okay, that's going to do it for tonight. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. What?
I got who's gonna play Jokic as an actor in the movie.
Oh yeah. Oh right.
Shave his head, and I got Adam Driver playing Nikola Jokic.
Oh, okay.
He's got a big nose, and he's got the deep voice.
Yeah, he's got some features. Why is the Force connecting us? I love some Adam Driver, some Kylo Ren.
The horse connecting us.
Oh,
The one shirtless scene of him in Last Jedi.
Yeah. God bless anybody that's made it this far into our podcast.
Yeah, no, I mean nobody's here, but we
We're
appreciate
fresh
it
and
anyway.
loose right now.
We're fresh and loose. We got the vibes rolling. Okay, check us out on Instagram, TikTok. Matt, hit that outro.